Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Key Gripe, the show for short, sweet reviews of new release movies, plus the one thing that annoyed me the most. And today I'm going to be talking about the new film, Why Him? And there will be some spoilers and at least one major one. For Christmas, the Fleming family is going to California to meet their daughter's new boyfriend. But none of them, especially her straight-laced father, are prepared for the crass and wild millionaire she's dating. The film stars James Franco, Bryan Cranston, Megan Mullally, Zoe Deutsch, Griffin Gluck, Cedric the Entertainer, and Keegan-Michael Key. And the film is directed by John Hamburg. I am actually surprised I didn't hate this movie, and that was a real concern going in. The trailers I've seen for it haven't struck me as particularly unique or interesting. But John Hamburg directed one of my favorite stupid comedies in I Love You Man, so I gotta give him a little bit of a chance here. And even though it's very generic and ordinary, there are plenty of laughs throughout. Whether or not you can stomach this movie really depends on whether you can stand James Franco. And Franco is a good actor who's taken a lot of very annoying roles over the years. It seems like ages since he was an Oscar contender for 127 Hours. And while he has plenty of great moments throughout this film, he's still hit or miss. The hope then is that he could be overshadowed somewhat by the master Bryan Cranston, Walter White himself. Lest we forget, before Breaking Bad, Bryan Cranston was a comedic hero on Malcolm in the Middle, so we know he has the comedic chops. But ultimately, most of the best comedy in this movie came from Keegan-Michael Key. That is his thing. Raunchy comedies like this really rely on outrageous gags and jokes to succeed. And while some of it works, like the bukkake reference that is just perfect, others are just flat and boring, like the whole moose gag. And unfortunately, a lot of the jokes have this esoteric pop culture aspect to them. Hamburg had the same problem with I Love You Man. And it makes you wonder how funny those jokes are going to be in 5 years and beyond. And that's definitely a risk for a lot of modern comedies, not just this one, is the pop culture references could be too specific to its time. And likewise, this is another family comedy in sort of the same vein as a movie like Meet the Parents. It's slapstick, it's conflict between father and son-in-law to be, and that's something that really isn't new. It's something we've seen time and time again. It's another one of those very easy comedy tropes. At least they end up showing that their petty fight means nothing if the daughter doesn't get her say. Isn't it nice when a woman has a voice in a conversation? How unheard of. But ultimately, it's paint-by-numbers comedy from start to finish, and only the jokes are the real surprises. You know everything that's going to happen, it's just, are they going to have some surprising jokes? I have two key gripes with this movie. The first one is a little small, but there's one of those things that really annoyed me throughout the movie, and that was the whole shock of his cursing. Seriously, is it the 1950s? Because they really made it out to seem like no one ever swears. And the scene where Scotty proved he can cuss is just groan-worthy. I mean, I get it. Not everyone likes F-bombs, or maybe just people from the Midwest, as the movie suggests. There's definitely this California versus the Midwest attitude in this film. But focusing on the cussing really made this whole movie seem like it was written by a Sunday school kid who's trying to be naughty. My second key gripe, though, is the ending just drags out the runtime of this movie and offers nothing substantial. The last half hour follows the same paradigm as any family romance comedy. The parents come around, there's conflict, but in the end they all reconcile. But why it feels so bad, because it just happens without any real development. A few choice words are apparently all it takes for Bryan Cranston's character to ignore Franco's glaring problems. And then just to make things even more special, Gene Simmons and Paul Stanley of Kiss show up, and from there it just falters. It really does highlight the same problem I did have with I Love You Man. There's too much pop culture in it. And it actually felt like a joke having them in the movie, and it wasn't meant to be. Yes, it was supposed to be funny, but them being there was the joke. It's like, you might as well call it Kiss Saves Christmas. There's really nothing special in the ending, and that just ends the movie with a whimper when it could have ended with something really funny and fun. Overall, while I laughed pretty hard at a number of jokes throughout, it still fails to make a lasting impact. Most of the film is generic comedy, and it's unfortunate that they couldn't capitalize on a cast that includes Cranston and Mullally. But since they didn't stray from the paradigm, I can't say my expectations were high to begin with. I'm giving Why Him 5.5 out of 10 for being very much just a mediocre comedy. Let me know what you thought of Why Him, whether you liked it or didn't like it, or some of your favorite jokes from the film. And that does it for this episode of Key Gripe, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye. Hey, you made it to the end of the video. Nice work. Good job. If you like what you saw, you can just go ahead and click that subscribe button for all videos past and future. You can also head over to my website and see all the other stuff that I do, including the books I've written. So go ahead, click stuff.